Good afternoon, guys, and happy Tuesday. It's Tuesday. Happy Tuesday to all of your sunshiny faces. Knew it was still early in the week, guys, but I was a little thrown off because my dad was actually home from work yesterday. I think I told you guys that. And so, like, my mom was still gone yesterday, but my dad was home, and so I was thinking it was the weekend still. So anyways, guys, this dog's actually trying to make it up onto the bed himself, which he doesn't. Oh, I thought he was gonna make it. He doesn't do this, especially lately for some reason. He's been really weird about, like, he won't jump up on my bed. Somebody has to pick him up and put him on my bed. And, he just can't make it. Let's see if Charlie does it. Will he still try, or is he just giving up? Oh, I think he just gave up. It's weird. If Charlie's already on the bed, I think it's like maybe sort of a dominance thing. Like, they both will lay on the bed together, and Bravo doesn't really seem to care, but I think it's like he's scared sometimes of Charlie when he's up on the bed. And because too, like, sometimes they play fight sort of as well, and so I don't know. I think Bravo sometimes doesn't understand when it's a playful kind of, like, you know, they're like playing, and when Charlie's actually being legitimately like mean to him. And so I think sometimes, like, Charlie will just sort of, like, you know, again, like, play around, mess around maybe and stuff like that, and Bravo thinks that he's actually getting like angry, like he doesn't want him up there. So yeah, I thought he was actually gonna make it up onto the bed, but again, if Charlie's up there first, Bravo won't go up. As you guys saw, he walked away. He was like, oh, forget it, never mind, I'm not going up there. So anyways, guys, I have two things to kind of tell you guys today. One is that, my goodness, guys, I've been working on a new project. A new, like, something to do, but I actually, tonight that I made for dinner from a recipe that's from a recipe book that my aunt gave me, because I was like, I've been using the same, like, I don't know, 10 to 20 recipes pretty much that we've had for like a long time. I was like, I need to try and switch it up a little bit, because this is just becoming like the same thing over and over and over again. And I don't eat it, but I feel like I'm serving like the exact same stuff to people. And so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna use the I think it's actually back there, that Fix It and Forget It book. You guys can see it's right there, and then there's a Campbell's book underneath that. But the Fix It and Forget It book that my aunts gave me for my birthday last year, I was like, you know, like, a lot of the recipes in there, I'm like, oh my gosh, I totally want to use some of these, but I just haven't had the time, or, like, you know, I guess haven't really thought about doing it. But a lot of them are really easy. Like, I used the whole recipe for the whole chicken from there, and then I made 2 different types of freezer dinners, because slow cooker meals are super adaptable to make into freezer dinners. Basically, if it's a dump dinner and you pretty much throw everything all in at the same time, you can do that while it's frozen. Just freeze everything all together and throw it in all at the same time. The only thing I will say is that if you cook it on high and you add frozen vegetables will most likely be super mushy by the time your food is done, is what I've definitely noticed. And the other thing is, potatoes do not freeze very well. You can get around it if you put enough liquid in, but they don't freeze very well, is what I've noticed. Normally I'll just cut up potatoes and add it at the beginning, like a, you know, pot pie recipe or something like that, or like a stew or something. I will just add potatoes in, like, at the beginning of the cook time or whatever. That, and then also too, like, when I do sausage, like Italian sausage with peppers, I'll normally add the peppers in maybe the last, like, hour or so, just because, again, it's kind of the same thing. A lot of times, like, the vegetables will be super like, just they'll be very mushy by the time, even too if you're doing it where, you know, it's just like a dump dinner and you throw everything in at the same time. Especially with frozen vegetables, they cook super fast, so you don't even, like, the last 20 minutes that you're cooking or so, you could even just warm them up the microwave and throw them in, you know, or however. But I mean, you could put them in literally while it's possibly even turned off, and still, like, it'll still cook if it's already hot enough when you add it in there. It's honestly what I do with broccoli a lot of the time. I will just actually turn the slow cooker off and throw the broccoli in and then wait like 10 to 20 minutes, and a lot of times it's done already. So anyways, yeah, that's the only thing I think, is that I don't normally always freeze the vegetables, the frozen vegetables with the like whatever the dinner is, just because they tend to get mushy. Like, I mean, really, like, they're like, you know, literally turned into pretty much soup. So that would be the only thing. But I was, again, adapting some of those recipes, so I had 2 that I adapted to make into like freezer dinners, and one of them we had for dinner tonight, and everybody loved it. Everybody said it was really good, and I was like, okay, that's one good one. But one of the things that I've been doing is, because we have a ton of cookbooks, but it's hard sometimes to know like what, I don't know, like, you know, when I search on Pinterest and stuff like that, look up like chicken breast dinners or something like that, chicken breast slow cooker dinners or whatever, and I can find it all in one spot, unless I'm using like the fix it and forget it slow cooker, the recipe book, or, you know, another like just like easy, you know, kind of like slow cooker dump dinners or something like that. One of the ones that I have been going through lately was actually this Pillsbury summer cookbook. I don't know, it's a really old one. I don't even know when it's from. Let's see if we can find out. Alright guys, I believe it is from 1987, because that is when the offer expires to get the classic cookbook subscription. Anyways, so yeah, it's from the 80s, but some of the stuff in here are like pretty good recipes, and there's a couple of actual slow cooker recipes in there, right? But I would never in a million years think to go into that cookbook to go and look for a slow cooker recipe to turn into a freezer dinner. If I was like, oh, there's grilling stuff in there, or maybe, you know, I honestly wouldn't even think that there was like dessert recipes really in there, but there are, in a lot of like slushy sort of recipes and stuff like that. I was like, these would be really fun things to do for the summer. Obviously it's summertime right now, so you know, for that reason. But again, like slow cooker stuff, I wouldn't expect to find it in there, but I found a couple and I was like, this is kind of cool. And other just easy like snack sandwich, you know, just like not having to turn the stove or oven on or anything like that kind of things, just because again it's hot out right now. Who wants to do that and make the house hotter? You know, so it's either like grilling options or a lot of other like, you know, just like no bake kind of stuff. So again, I was going through that and was like, this is super cool, but again, I would never think to go through it. So what I've been doing is actually, I haven't been adding the whole recipes, but basically just the ingredients that they each, like, you know, like each of the recipes use, and then put it like into organizing it in, like, I'm using my Mac, so I'm just doing it in Keynote, and making kind of like recipe cards for each one. But again, I'm just saying like what book it's found in and where it is. Eventually maybe I will go through and add all of the instructions actually on how to make some of this stuff, but it's long and it would be a super long amount, like it'd be an awful lot of typing, and so I could do it. I don't know that I'm going to, but basically I just want a recipe book that like has all of the recipes that I would possibly use. And so again, some of these like books like that, or even to adding like, you know, the fix it and forget it ones, just all into one place, and then that way I have it organized. So I'm like, okay, chicken, all of the chicken stuff is here, I just looked that up. And then I think I'm going to organize it too by like things that how you make it in the oven, or if you make it on the stove, or if you make it in the slow cooker, so that I can be like, okay, well, you know, these ones are probably going to be out for summertime, but in the fall or, you know, winter or whatever, I can definitely do some of the oven ones. That would be a better idea to have the stove turned on because it keeps the house warmer, you know, so like that kind of stuff. But again, if I'm not thinking about it and I can't find some of this stuff, you know, like, and I'm not thinking to look through some of those books, like there's a lot of stuff I'm like, I definitely want to use that, like, you know, maybe even this week make some of this stuff. And so I wanted to do this. I tried to do it one other time and didn't get very far because I was trying to actually add all of the directions and it took me forever to type, like even just like a couple. But I, like I said, kind of want to make recipe cards, and if it's one that I've been consistently using, then maybe adding it there just so I don't have to then be like, oh, this recipe, and then go and try and find it in the book and then try and make it and all that kind of stuff. So that's what I want to try and do. So that the other thing too is that if I'm like, okay, I got this, you know, ingredient or something like that, or just finding out like we have a bunch of extra of XYZ in in the pantry or stuff like that. What can I use to make that up? Use to make with that? And since I'll have all the ingredients listed in there, I can just search and be like, oh, we actually have a lot of yellow cake mix, you know, for example. And I want to do something fun instead of making it into a normal old cake or cupcakes or something like that. Because there was one that was kind of cool. It was with angel food cake, and then you dip it in, like, I think it was pineapple yogurt, and then you put coconut on top of it, and then you actually grill it. And I was like, that's a perfect dessert that you can do outside in the summer, and like that kind of stuff. And I was like, I think we actually have maybe 2 boxes of angel food cake, and maybe our mom used it for something recently, but like I don't know that everybody's, you know, like loves it just as is. And I was like, that's kind of a cool dessert that's a little bit different, you know, and stuff like that. So again, like if I'm like, okay, we have some of this stuff, or we have, you know, this thing or whatever, that I can, again, you know, look up and search through there, because I'll have all the recipes listed, and then I can go and find it in the actual cookbook. But if it is something that I use a lot, like, you know, if there's one slow cooker recipe that I use often, I can actually list the directions in there, so that again, I don't have to pull that up. The other thing that's really nice too is that I can, because it's on Keynote and I do it through like my iCloud, I can look it up on my phone. So if I'm in the kitchen cooking something, I can look it up on my phone, or even too, if somebody's asks me for a recipe for something, I will have it on my phone as well, instead of, you know, having to try and look it up or something like that. Again, if it's one that I use more often, or if somebody asks me like what's in this or something like that, I actually know, because sometimes I do not always remember and I might forget all the stuff that I ended up adding to it or whatever. And if it's an easy recipe, it's just like, you know, a pasta salad or something like that, I don't have to be like, I don't remember what I added, and, you know, I can just, you know, list off what's added in it, and, you know, just be like a pasta salad. You add everything together pretty much, so it's not too hard to explain how to make a pasta salad. You know, so like that whole kind of thing. I find that like, I don't know, just for me and like my brain, I like to have things organized. And I love that we have recipe books from the 80s, but I can't always go and use them if I don't know like what's, you know, in there, or, you know, like some of this stuff. And honestly too, it's not a whole, you know, like my thing is, I don't like recipes that take like 90 ingredients to make and stuff like that, but these all are pretty simple, you know, like, and stuff that I'd normally find at Aldi. It's not like specialty items and stuff like that. Those are the ones that I like the most. And like I said, this recipe is, their recipes in there are pretty simple stuff. We had a bunch. My mom got a ton of, gosh darn it, what are those called? Not Better Homes and Gardens, but they're like the I don't remember, some kind of cookbook magazine that I think maybe my mom was subscribed to for a little while, but then she also bought a ton at a thrift store. We have like a huge stack of them, and I love some of the recipes in there, but sometimes again I forget, like, oh, we have potatoes, oh, I can make mashed potatoes, and I have a really favorite mashed potato recipe from one of those books. But sometimes again I don't, sometimes I'll just go on Pinterest instead of, you know, just being like, oh, because it's easier than trying to go and find, you know, the recipe in one of the books that I don't know which one it is or whatever. And again, sometimes I'm like, I was convinced that this recipe was in this book or something like that, and it's not. It's actually in a different one. And so if I have that there and I have all the information, then it's easy for me to find it. So that was what I was been doing today. I actually did it while I was editing, because I can edit and type at the same time, so it's pretty helpful. And again, multitasking, so I can do 2 things at once, because I honestly am not the type of person that could just sit there and like try and like edit. Sometimes I can, but other times I'm just like, okay, you know, I can just, especially right now because I'm behind with the vlogs. I have a couple that I have to do, you know, a day or whatever. Sometimes if I'm sitting there for longer than an hour, I'll be like, okay, what else can I do to kind of better pass my time? I told you guys too, I like to watch sports while I'm editing, and I can't do that because no sports are on. I believe baseball is coming back though, guys, in July. The end of July, I think it's coming back, which is cool. I'm excited. I cannot wait for that. But yeah, guys, that was what I've been up to today. I cleaned the bathroom. I got to some laundry, got to a lot of dishes, edited and uploaded today. And tomorrow I think I'm gonna make egg salad, because I don't like their egg salad recipe that I found in the book, but my mom has a favorite kind of egg salad recipe, and we've got, I think, close to 6 dozen eggs. I was like, we need to use these. My mom did omelets for Father's Day, and I was like, we need to start trying to figure out a good way to use these up. And I was like, I could do an egg bake for dinner one night. I was like, but that again involves turning on the oven and boiling. Like, I can boil the eggs in the morning while it's still cool out, and it's only supposed to be like 75, I think, is a high tomorrow. Super cool out and nice today, guys. But I can do that in the mornings where it's not super hot, and then just have the eggs ready to go for like dinner tonight, and then do egg salad, like sandwiches for dinner, because that's another easy way too to use up bread, because I think we have some bread that needs to be used as well. So again, I told you guys too, like, in quarantine has taught me how to use up a lot of like leftovers, and you know, like try and use up as much as possible of what we already have. We have 6 dozen eggs. I'd like to figure out a use for those 6 dozen eggs, because they've been like super on sale too. Like, they're like, you know, 59 cents and stuff like that. I'm like, I can't pass up buying these, but how can I use them? And so that's one of those things too, is that sometimes I don't always think like, what are all the egg recipes I possibly know that we could do? And I, again, wasn't even thinking egg salad, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's a perfect egg salad sandwiches for dinner. That's an easy one. I can, again, make the eggs in the morning, or make the whole thing in the morning and then just put it in the refrigerator and then serve it for dinner tonight. I was like, that's a nice one that I don't have to do a lot of work for. I can get it done earlier in the day, and not have to rush around right before dinner or anything. And you know, if we have leftovers too, my mom loves egg salad. And again, she likes that and tuna salad, but I always forget about like egg salad. My normally go-to, if I'm like, we have an extra dozen eggs, is normally to do like an egg bake, and like throw bell peppers and stuff like that in there. But I was like, this is an easy one too, we can do that. I might do an egg bake maybe tomorrow as well, just so that people can have those for breakfast and just heat them up in the microwave. I don't know, we'll figure it out. We'll see, because again, tomorrow's supposed to be one of the cooler days. Like, today was super nice out. Tomorrow's supposed to be pretty cool too, so I was like, if I need to get any baking done tomorrow, probably in the morning would be like the best time to try and do it. So anyways, guys, I'll see you all in tomorrow's vlog. If you guys did enjoy today's, make sure you guys give a big old thumbs up. If you guys aren't new, we'd love if you'd subscribe, and I'll see all of your sunshiny faces tomorrow. So bye, guys.